that's a significant fresh water. I mean, that's a significant area right there for Native Americans in that land. So by starting with Chief Pontiac, and you come in as the uh the the embodiment of that
The
spirit that was
successor.
following on in, huh?
Yeah, I gotta solve his beef.
Yeah, it started right there with the Moors, right
Yeah,
there with the Moors, the British Moors. Yeah,
and the French. It was
yeah,
primarily the French.
yeah.
You gotta remember, Detroit was the capital.
Go ahead.
The territory of Chief Pontiac stretched from Detroit to Chicago to Pontiac, Illinois.
Go ahead.
Right. We only had metropolises and villages. We didn't have sub cities. Today, the tribes of the Flintstones, they still inhabit Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. We call them Flintstones is because they used to not far from Flint. They used to mine Flintstone.
Go ahead. Makes
This is where
sense.
you get your cartoon characters from. Working in the rock mines. The rock mine became characteristic of the auto plants, and that's where the Union first started in Flint, Michigan. Right? It was triggered by the treaties of the Flint Indians with the Saginaw Indians and several other local tribes that people can't exploit you for your labor. This what gave rise to the labor unions.
Mm.
And the corporation, aka the government, hired corporate you in the corporations, they hired protesters to protest the organizing of the labor force under the what's called guild principle, GUILD. The guild principle was where all of the people that work in the profession stabilize the value of their workload
Mm.
so that you can't be exploited, and I won't let nobody exploit you if you don't let nobody exploit me. This gave birth to your labor unions, but it started off as workers guilds. Before it was workers guild, it was family professions where you pass down what your father did to the son, but people wanted to strike out on their own, so they wanted to be specialized in other areas. So you start out developing the guilds, which is the precursor to the skilled trades monitoring systems that gave birth to workers unions. All of the workers unions came from the organizing of workers guilds before the unions was ever started. And this was agreements that tribes used to make on the land to maintain stable financial balance in the workload. That way, if this job deserves $8 an hour, right? For example, if it's 10 of us that know how to do it, we all should be paid $8 an hour to do this job, right? Now, just because we in different areas and we don't communicate, there's no standard of what we might charge. One of us might find that he's got a niche crowd where the demand is too high for him to do it at $8 an hour. He's gonna do it for 10, which raises his stock value. But you might not have the same capability. So to compete with him, you have to decrease the value per hour that you making. Now this split the wages, right? This is how you play two sides from the middle, right? We overwhelm him with demand. He got to jack his prices up for you to compete for survival. You have to lower your prices down, right? But we still getting paid by the same people, right? And the first time one of us have to lower our prices, we devalue the underlying production of what we produce, right? Because this is how you end up in the auto industry going from luxury car to economy car. What's the difference? They bought cars,
Yeah.
right? They all charge a high percentage more than it take to make them. in order for you to buy one. Like you can go, it might cost them $1,800 to build a Mazda G6. It's only gonna cost them $2,000 to build a Cadillac Escalade. The price of production is not that much different, right? But the economy cars is what you get the people to make in order to be able to make the Escalade at a higher value. Because now you're giving it back to the customer the way you paying out the wages.
Man, it's a game. Oh, it's like hand over fist. It's hustle me hand.
Yeah.
Let's go back to guns and butter. Guns and butter. That ties into the topic with everything you're saying. It ties into the topic. Guns versus butter. So it stands the reason the people who are passing out the butter and taking in the guns, it's got a systematic hand over fist hustle here, man. You got to figure out the hustle or you will get hustle. Seems like to me. Huh?
Yep. So it's the same with it. Any child going out in New York will be exposed to the kind games. He gonna walk past somebody playing 3-card money. He gonna walk past somebody playing 3-shell shuffle. Right? He gonna walk past somebody playing all these kinds. He gonna run past people that playing instruments with a hat out front of them, singing sometimes. He gonna walk across the people that made a creative drum set out of buckets and pans, right? Just because everybody got a different ability. When you don't know what these games is, you become food for the environment. You get consumed. You always behind 2 steps behind what the environment is doing because you don't know the rules to the game. Remember what Tupac say? Once you get an understanding of the game and the rules of the game, right? Life ain't a struggle no more. It's a trick, and it's a trick to be played. Voila, pull a rabbit out the hat. Black girl magic, just like that. It's a return of the peace stones. When they tell you stone running, they talking about that's the law. G's govern it. We the politicians. They the enforcers. We the politicians. We the statesmen. Right? So when we rise up, we gotta be well versed in both of them, not to disrespect either of them. We all born off the Vice Lord line. Right? And all of this takes us back to unraveling who's who across the land. And how do we understand who we are faced with an enemy that look like us that ain't us? Right? That's hiding behind people that don't look like us. Telling us that they the problem when they following the rules just like the rest of us is.
Right? It's like they keeping us in a spin, in a whirlwind, while they sit back and collect the guns. They collecting the guns and they put us on the butter where we can slip on the butter.
You remember when they say that the gypsies that come to town, they perform, they do crystal ball readings and read tarot cards for you, and people used to talk bad about the gypsies, right?
Yeah.
But there was another group of people in India called jugglers, and they had all these different magicians, right? And they all doing some fancy trick, and they come to town, it's like the circus. But it's less controlled than the circus. It looked like pure chaos.
Yeah.
Over here, you got to do balancing one finger on the bottle. Right? Over there, you got a girl with a hula hoop doing backflips at 30 miles a minute. Right? You got people juggling, swallowing swords, eating fire. All of this is just sensory overload coming to your local village, right? That's called the razzle dazzle,
Damn.
right? Because when you come with the razzle dazzle, you have so many things going on at one time, and people that sensory deprived become sensory overloaded, and that delirium allow you to manipulate them out of their money. It's called the razzle dazzle. It's adopted from the old juggler circuses from before colonization of India, what we used to be called Hindustan.
Yeah,
And before
yeah.
that, it was, Aethiops, but it was the ether, when they referred to it.
The
Right.
juggler,
So
man.
what gave rise to Aethiops, burnt faces, is also Latin aether, which is ether. Because you're jumping from two different cultures. The Greeks speak Greek. The Romans speak Latin. So when the Greeks is telling us about the land of the burnt faces, they was talking about the land of the sun faces,
Right.
which is the manifest aether or ether,
Right.
symbolized by the sun in this traverse across the sky. This is your story of the rise of the chief from our men to our 10. But first he had to go through Kether, right? And as he ascends to the apex, which is our 10 position, which is high noon in the old cowboy movies, it's the final showdown. It's almost 12 o'clock on the doomsday clock, right? And what Rakim say? He say, "Oh man, I forgot how he said it. I ain't gonna butcher his lyrics because he's too good for me to do that." But he was talking about the appearance of the seventh angel, right? And it was gonna be right in the nick of time to stop disaster. They over there talking, flirting with nuclear war, but the Galactic Council already said that if they tried nuclear war, they'd shut down all their war machines.
Yeah. Yeah, I already
So
said it. Ain't
I'm
gonna be
like,
no.
go ahead, shoot another one up in the sky if you want to. It will immediately topple their old system. They ain't gonna do that.
They tried to shoot it up because they was testing them out of space, right? And they shot it up, and then one of them crafts just came out of nowhere, and the missile was flying at 15,000 miles an hour. It just came up, shot it like 3 times, deactivated it, darted off back into outer space. I said, man,
They didn't just do it once.
Yeah, a couple times.
They even have them. It was a reactor that was reaching um, critical mass for explosion. Right? They shut it off.
Damn.
They got a whole lot of recorded in the, especially when you go into that field of ufology.
Yeah.
They're very active around the nuclear plants because remember, we in this from nuclear war.
Yeah.
We coming out of the ice age that was an artificially induced ice age,
Right.
which created another cycle inside of a cycle, inside of a cycle. Right? Which was a triple infinity loop. Right? So in order to get out of it, you have to play it all simultaneously from the fifth dimension. But it had to be acted out or descriptively displayed in the third dimension in order for it to finally come into fruition or for the power to take. In other words, the creator God's got to collapse the reality from the wave form to the particle form, from the possibility to the certainty. The wave form is infinite possibility, right? And the particle form is absolute probability. You're going from possibility to probability. The likelihood collapses the reality. And I'm telling you, we only here today because we used yesterday to get here, mentally speaking. All things are mind, made up of the contents of the mind. It's just our imagination running away again.
Just our imagination running away with me.
Now, what we trying to do now is find a sunshiny day, right? And we just trying to get a little bit further after the pain because we all understood no pain, no gain. So we understood Betty when she called up to have a conversation woman to woman. But we was just children. We didn't know what we was listening to, right? Then we heard them when they told us that tonight is the night, right? And she want to make her a woman. In other words, the queen need to be crowned the queen in order for her to be seen. So they bring in all of the bees from the hive, the killer bees, which is the killer G's. The G's is the sevens. The sevens working for the twos. The twos is the sisters. The sisters sending out the SOS. Because the sisters of the struggle activate the brothers of the struggle when the bully come around in order to go get his sister's stuff back. So when it's all said and done, it all comes back to one. And then you get back to the I-10, back to the high noon of it all.
Hey, Rod.
Right.
We got about 3 minutes. Hey, man, if y'all want to show Brother Rod Hayes some love, we got his Cash App and his PayPal if you can't get the Cash App on the screen. And we'll take one. I got one more question for you, Rod. We got about 3 minutes. Somebody asked, could you go in on how important, and you probably went over this 1,000 times, but how important is the totem poles and how do they find, they say they want, people asking about the totem poles and how do they find their tribal totem pole?
The tribes use totem poles. We make our own totem poles. You got to design your totem pole. The totem pole is it ties to your totem animal, which is your spirit animal. We didn't use flags. We were only using flags under the jurisdiction of Admiralty and Maritime that was doing a salvage operation on the land. And wherever the ship landed, he had to fly a flag. That's why they got an American flag in every state capital, wherever the state capital building is. Right? And in order to tell you who was conquered, they put the state flag under the United States flag so you know that this territory was conquered by the corporation known as the United States. And they used the postal zones to parcel out the land in order to determine how to break the land up. So the totem poles used to tell more information than the flag, and it used to tell you how your tribe is affiliated with the land.
Sort of like an address for your tribe.
Yeah, but we normally used to keep them at what's called great junctions. Great junctions was travel paths, right? When you get to a travel path, in order to know if you're in hostile territory or friendly territory, you have to know the totem of the people that you're at peace with and at war with, right? So you can use the totem poles that the local tribe produce because it's local tribes in every city and every tribe's not far from you that's still doing tribal stuff on the land. And we even have ceremonial tribes to make sure that some of this stuff is still being done. The ceremonial tribes that's working with us, because there's a lot of them, you know, because they have no problem with us saying we the original people of the land, and they will also tell you that. But the imposter interloper tribes are the ones that gets dismayed by us telling y'all that we the original people of the land. Right? So your totem pole is absolute definitive that you from the land and that you don't honor the law of the flag, you honor the law of the totem pole, which ties to the original tribes.
Hey, fire, man. And on that note, we're at the 2 o'clock mark, and we can close it out. Hey, Raw, you got anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
No, just we
appreciate all the love, the support, the new subscribers, the new members, everything, man. We are the comments, the people been going ham on the comments with the love, man. So I definitely appreciate all y'all, and we just getting started, man. We ain't even warmed up yet. So I want to get this thing cracking without a further ado. So Big Chief, man, appreciate you for having me. I mean, for coming on again and joining us, by Brother B-Dale 2 times in 1 week. I appreciate you too as well, brother.
you know, we here to bang bang and shake the brain on this 2-ball cane thug thing. You understand what I'm saying? You know, they put certain people together. It's like mixing the right chemicals to make a bomb, baby. We here about to shake it up. You know, we just gonna be kicking the game to us, but to other people, they gonna learn something.
Yes, sir. And they learning a lot too, man. That's real. That's real. I tell you what, listen, I want to jump right in too, because I got to check out your video you just put, I think like yesterday or the day before, B-Dale. And then Brother Rod, I've been seeing your stuff you've been dropping. So look, just that alone is enough for me to go. But you know, with the posts I've been seeing from you on Facebook, Rod, and then B-Dale with your stream you just did, I think yesterday, when it comes to the thing called gematria, right? I know there's been a lot of dates that we're seeing that's got a lot of significance to them. So with today being 6/6, right? And then with it being a 9-year, and since the last time I've spoke to both of y'all, I done seen earthquakes, volcanoes, I done seen goddamn hailstorms, ice storms in Florida, I done seen red orbs in Florida, I've seen the gold melting in Hawaii. Like, it's a whole lot going on, boy, since the last time we talked. So if I didn't know no better, I definitely would say it is Mamageddon, and the matriarchs have returned. So when it goes to the mothers, and let's just go with the number 6/6. What is that kind of bringing us to when we're talking about this day and time, brother B-Dale, with the gematria aspects?
Well, when you get into Vedic gematria, the gematria system is connected to the binary code system of the matrix. So that's why everything within the simulation, it has a number, and that number operates on the system of a cycle. So that's why if you notice everything in as far as like historical context and biblical context, there's always a cycle in a transitional shift that takes place that's also corresponding with the numerical system that is acclimated to the event or whatever agenda or whatever type of black swan orchestration that they're trying to perpetuate to carry out a certain agenda as far as like, you know, totalitarian system. So everything as far as like, for instance, like around this time last year, the boxer Garcia, I forgot his name, but he said something about an earthquake was going to be taking place on June 6th. So